DreamHack ASTRO Open is brought to you by ASTRO, Monster Energy, Corsair, Zowie, Intel, and Lenovo Legion.
DreamHack ASTRO Open Montreal. It is certainly coming down to the wire here for two teams, and the only two teams left to find their way to the playoff bracket are Cloud9 and Luminosity. Take a look at this city. This is a beautiful place to be, and we're all here thanks to our sponsors, ASTRO, Monster Energy, Zowie, Corsair, Intel, and Lenovo Legion. I'm here on the analyst desk. My name is Stunna, and I have been here all day, all weekend, alongside my friends in James Cobb and Jacob Vinicki. What's up, fellas?
I'm getting a little excited for this match.
As you should be, because this is a very important matchup. The last elimination matchup of the day, and it's two names that, well, to be quite frank, it's awesome to see them here playing together, I guess.
Yeah, we got the crowd favorite Cloud9 obviously in the house, and then Luminosity, who showed a great game earlier today against Complexity. So I think we're in for a good one.
I think we're in for a good one, and I think there's even a crowd out there. Am I onto something? Do we have a crowd in the house tonight? Is that? Yeah, there it is. Ooh. How about that? I mean, because they were out in full force yesterday for Cloud9, so I can't imagine it being much different today. But looking at their matchup today, we're going into a best of three, a very important one for both sides. Neither one of them want to get knocked out early. So how are we feeling this one breaks down?
Well, you know, I think I have Cloud9 right just off the top of my head, but I don't know if I want to go with the Moses strategy or not. You know, I want to break the curse. But I think Cloud9 are probably the favorites to win. I'm sure you would, Jacob would probably agree with me. I think Luminosity could steal a map off of them if they bring that pistol game that almost destroyed Complexity's economy. If they can bring that and Cloud9 doesn't shut that down, I think they have a good chance at least getting a map, maybe even taking two, but it's unlikely to me.
Well, let's take Group B and just a quick glimpse at how this one unfolded into the tournament thus far, the last match of Elimination Day. Go ahead, Pimp.
I mean, the first day, not a lot of surprises. Cloud9 manhandled Complexity, Immortals manhandled Luminosity.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's how it was, you know, simple as that. And then Luminosity went on to win against Cloud9, a game that probably was a little bit less close than the scoreline suggests. You know, Immortals were playing one hell of a T-side, and so did Cloud9, but it wasn't enough to pull off the comeback. Earlier today, we saw Luminosity win 2-0 against Complexity, and I would say quite convincing game against Complexity, where you got to see some of their flaws, and you also got to see Luminosity playing good CS.
Which they're hoping to carry over going into this one. And if you at home think that your favorite team in this matchup can carry it over, use !C9 or !LG to vote in chat right now. And actually, I don't want to say this one's going to be a tough one in terms of the chat vote, but where do you guys think chat will land on this one?
This is the prediction of predictions right here. Chat vote, I got 95.5 C9.
Okay, I got a 93 for C9.
Really?
90 what?
93.
93. Okay,
really?
We're close.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I think that one's just a little bit overzealous. I think there's. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that, but only time will tell. Let's go ahead and look at our teams now. We've got Cloud9 here in the recent edition of Rush first on our screen. Let's talk a little bit about Rush, guys.
I mean, the entry fragger of NA, as James claimed him yesterday, he had a good game against Immortals. One of the only players who actually lived up to the reputation for Cloud9 yesterday. He was the guy behind the comeback, so to say. Same with Tarek. He had a great play, you know. Some call him a peanut brain, but that definitely wasn't the case yesterday, you know. So fast and grab for him. Stewie2K has been lagging a little bit lately, ever since he's not the in-game leader anymore for Cloud9, and that might come down to the fact that he has to adjust to a new role where he's not comfortable yet. So there's a lot of questions regarding this Cloud9 team right now.
Well, if we see the same Cloud9 that came out on Cash last night in the second half, I think we're up for a treat because, I mean, we're looking at a team where Skadoodle was winning duels. We're looking at a team where Automatic was getting out mid on T side without really any resistance. And we're really able to put some firepower down and some pressure on those Immortals guys.
Yeah, and, you know, I still don't think Cloud9 has it all together there tactically. I think a lot of their rounds are just from pure individual skill.
What if I said that, and I'm not going to name any names, but what if I said somebody told me that it's kind of like Flubber right now? that they're still trying to figure it out on the inside.
I mean, that's fair to say, and that's what we're going to see against Luminosity today. I feel Luminosity is one of those teams who have a lot of structure. They try to kind of like adopt the way of SK's play. You know, obviously they're Brazilian brothers in arms, so they try to learn from them. And it seems like they have a little bit of more structure compared to the rest of the NA scene. And I think that's where C9 could struggle the most against teams who have structure, against teams that have a tactical understanding of what they're doing. Where C9, as you said, it's a little bit floppy, it's a little bit loose, and it's unstable in that sense. You know, so I'm excited to see how much the individual skill actually will prevail for Cloud9 in this case, because we know it. You know, the scene is getting closer and closer, and it's not like these players from Luminosity are much worse than the Cloud9 players individually.
Yeah, let's not write off Luminosity. I mean, one of the new pickup songs right now, Neck, is, you know, they in their last match against Cole, they performed really well. Showtime had a lot of clutches. Like I was mentioning earlier, their pistols were on point. They won a lot of ecos. They really, Brazilians, I feel, are really good at controlling the economy. They understand the economic game. Ooh, 88-12.
Hey, remember that time I was right and you guys weren't?
What did you say?
You didn't say anything.
It wasn't this time. It wasn't this time. It was the other time. You know, but anyway.
Yeah.
Looking at this lineup, though, Luminosity, not a team to be taken lightly by any means. I feel like coming into today, both teams have a lot riding on this. You have Cloud9 on one hand going through growing pains. They have 2 new players on the roster. They're trying to figure it out internally. I do know that Valens is going full-time with the team now, so it's something that it should be interesting to see how that plays out in the future.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that. I didn't know if Valens went full-time with the team. Look, you got some knowledge over there. Where are you getting these secrets?
I don't know. It's like I know those guys. It's nuts. But let's take a look at the map vetoes, because this is where the breakdown really gets interesting, because, you know, barring any catastrophes in the veto process, which team is going to be set up for success here? The first map bans are going to be Mirage and Nuke. What are we thinking the maps are going to be, guys?
I think Train is definitely going to be in there somewhere. If not Cloud9 picks it, then I could imagine Luminosity do it. Inferno as well, I think. Luminosity seems quite comfortable on that map. So Train and Inferno I expect to see to be 2 out of the 3 maps. Cash apparently it will. That's a ballsy pick, I'd say, after you saw Cloud9 play yesterday.
Well, you better hope they don't start T-side, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little surprising after what we saw on a Cloud9 against Immortals, but it is Luminosity's probably most played map right now, and Train is a no-brainer, as Jacob said. I think that's been their go-to pick the whole tournament, if I'm not mistaken. So
our first 2 maps are going to be Cash and Train. The next ban from Luminosity coming in is going to be Overpass, and it's going to come down to finding out this last map here in this last best of 3 of the day. And again, a very crucial one, because the winner moves on to the playoffs tomorrow, to the semifinals, and the loser gets to pack it up and gets to go home.
It's between Cobble and Inferno. I can't imagine. Yeah.
Yep, there we go.
Inferno.
So, guys, the maps are in. We've got Cash, Train, and Inferno in that order. What can we hope to see here from either side?
I hope we see a better CT side from Cloud9 than yesterday against Immortals. They need that to make the cash game competitive. I feel Train is in favor of C9, but Luminosity showed us today they can play Train. They brought a good fight to complexity, so I think it's open, and I think both teams can be happy with the map pool.
Absolutely, and I think if Cloud9's going to win, especially on Cash CT, they've really got to be aggressive, because they were not aggressive the other day, and I thought that was really disappointing. But LG, I think if they just stick to their plan and using their strategies and tactics that I think are far superior than what Cloud9 has right now, I think they have a good chance.
Well, guys, we're going to be going into, I know, our personal favorite here, predictions. And it's time to hear what your strategy is going to be on the prediction, Hayes, because really and truly, this entire matchup lines on your shoulders.
To hell with Moses and that curse. C9 2-0, baby.
2-0, a quick W. I think the crowd likes that one too. I think we really have a predominantly C9 crowd here. I could be crazy for thinking that, but they were in full force yesterday. So we got a C9 2-0. What do we got, Pim?
I'm afraid we got another 2-0 today for C9. I think it can be close on both maps, but I think C9 is going to pick it 2-0.
And I don't need any rhyme or reason for my pick, but I think you can imagine I wore the blue today because the boys in light blue are going to be taking this big W and going to the semifinals tomorrow. I'm picking Cloud9 as well. It's got to be a 2-0. I think, I believe, I'm a believer.
No bias at all. Bias. It's like when CLG's playing, I had no bias for me at all.
No forks.
You guys are
given.
I picked Kingwin.
But you did
no
it,
bias.
Well, hold on. There might be some bias, but it might be in Twitch chat. Let's check and see what that one broke down like when it came to you guys at home voting and how it all played out. Wow.
Man, I was off.
82-18. Cloud9 favorites all around, in-house, out-of-house, and your house at home. Are we going to have a good best of 3, guys?
I think so. I think it's going to be close in the 2 maps, potentially 3. But I think Cloud9 will run away with it. The individual skill is just too superior, I'd say, compared to Luminosity. But you know, you can never count them out. And you saw the spirit and morale after that complexity game. You know, that's something that can throw off Cloud9.
All right, well, our commentators who will be bringing you the action of this last matchup of the day are sitting idly by. It's Scrawny and Sadakist.
How soon Canada forgets the Cloud9 sabotaged Shroud, the only Canadian on the roster. Wow. Let's go, Luminosity.
Oh,
listen, I don't think he's sitting in a very sabotaged position. I think he's doing just fine.
I know he's a good PUBG player. What can I say? World's best?
Yeah, I mean, they had
debatable.
Gamescom, right? But that was to choose the second and third.
A second and third best. What, are you going to stop him, Hazed?
No,
I mean, you didn't stop him in Counter-Strike.
No, he is far superior to me on every level.
Well, guess what?
saying.
It's time for you guys to take it away and have fun.
Thank you. I'm already having a lot of fun. How are you?
I am having as much fun as you are, Sadakist. Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, probably for the better. We had a little bit less, but either way, we're going to get into it. Look, I think Cloud9 have to be the favorites in this, if I'm completely honest. There's no world that I see Luminosity creating an upset of that nature. I mean, they struggled against Immortals in their opening game. Their Brazilian counterpart, which has been a very improved team, obviously made the major final. Yes, okay, a run that may not be replicated immediately, but their success was not overnight. It was something they've built toward and created a more consistent roster. Cloud9 now, obviously coming into this event, it's a practice event. It's a shape-up event. They didn't do that well at Malmo with this new lineup. There was reason to be encouraged by it. Tarek coming into the in-game leading role, taking that over when he joined the roster, has work to do, has to implement himself not only as a fragging distribution, but also getting used to 3 new players, a whole new core. Rush he may be familiar with, but the others have a familiarity that he has to adapt to as much as they have to adapt to them. So this event is perfect for them to shape up. Getting through to the playoffs has to be minimum. After that, I won't fault them for anything beyond.
Yeah, I think that these maps actually also play strength to Cloud9 in what could be a 2-0 quite quickly. I mean, Luminosity do actually hold a recent win versus Immortals on Cash from the ESL Pro League, and a convincing score as well, 16-6. But barring that, Cloud9 obviously dismantled some serious competitors on Cash as well, so you cannot count them out. And at least I think that'll simplify the task of Tarek. Cash can be kept simple, but it's going to be a push towards the B site already. Tarek dropped out of the round as Yell finds the headshot and an open B site for the taking.
The only thing more fun than watching Shroud play PUBG on Twitch is watching CSGO on Sliver.tv, because you can win prizes, and CSGO's a better game. Sorry, Shroud. As Cloud9, without him, will try and take back the B site. They've lost Tarek in the process. They've conceded to going to retake. Skadoodle's the, if you want to call it, Inspector Gadget in this round, as he has the kit. Automatic starts it by getting Yell. It's the opening they may need. Cello, by the way, had an amazing minor qualification toward it with Luminosity. Looked very, very encouraging. In fact, if KNG had not worked out with Immortals, I say Cello would have been another option they could have picked up. Rush picked up by Cloud9, though, will walk in and find Nekas. A decent start, but still they need time on their side because Skadoodle had the kit. He's gone down. They don't have it to get the defuse, and that means round done already. Showtime. He's done enough. He'll back away. Luminosity go up 1-0.
Greatly done there by the players of Luminosity inside the bomb site. We saw Cello just next to that tie stack, trying to pepper the players from heaven. It kept them inside the doorway. So when they were finally able to come out, my God, nice dink through the wall and follow up as well. Automatic, making it look easy. But that pistol round obviously not quite simple, seeing as Luminosity walk away with the win. Had Skadoodle remained up, had he gotten to the bomb site, then maybe we could have seen Cloud9 really force the victory, but that's not the case. It's the Brazilians with an opening. And if they are going to take a map off Cloud9, if they're going to win this series, then I think a strong start on the T side of Cash is a great look for them to work with. Of course, Tarek coming in with a scout of his own, the 3 CZs, and a P250 to boot.
Stu looking for a chance to peek back out in mid. PKL toward door. Standardized default. Showtime as well. We'll watch out from Toxic or Sunlight, if you will. Toward B. Very Liquid-esque during the days of Hiko. Or Cloud9 when Get Right would anchor toward B. Pith took his time toward the doorway on many occasions. Obviously things have changed on that lineup for the better. Maybe for the better of NA as they get optic with Freiburg. Skadoodle meanwhile throws down and deploys a late smoke toward A main. It'll leave 3 in the site. Tarek is waiting for rotation call based on information.
Now Automatic actually has another smoke here, so by the time this first one fades, he could redeploy it. And that's really going to push Luminosity against the clock. They'd have to just charge through regardless. Rush up close with the flash, finds the headshot, sprays for the next, and that's damage done, but Neck is still standing. Automatic to the side of the fence on the other side of smoke. The T's inbound. They try to plant within it, and his spray goes wide.
Wide, and the damage done early, though, is substantial. And the fact that the second flash got them in the sight, it gives them a better chance on the retake, but they're down to just Tarek. 22 HP on a scout, does hit the first shot, fair enough. It's 11 HP for Pickle. Yell's on 9. But he's got a lot to find if he wants to go any further. And you're right in saying Luminosity didn't do enough to get the information. The first smoke went down. It's about 14 seconds where in which the vision is so low that it's a risk to go through it. It's 18 seconds full animation for those wondering. That includes the little canister on the ground. It's about 14 seconds where in which they're delayed. There was 34 on the clock. That one was just about to dissolve, and there was another one available to them. If they had gone in completely blind without finding the first trade kill, that could have been a problem for them, but works out. They'll control it, and they'll keep 3 alive, including the AK-47 on PKL, so it goes to the hands of Cloud9, who will pretty much save around this. Yes, Tarek, okay, he's got the armor carried over with the scout, but there's no need to force. Just play the long game in this and obviously get into a gun round with more utility.
While he still has his scout, there is no pistols from Cloud9 to work with. At least not upgraded ones. So their job made that much harder. You can never count them out as they have already stacked up on Highway. If Luminosity don't push Cello too far in, or if they lose him in this process, then all of a sudden, these CTs can start reeling backwards. They are all here and waiting as Cello gets dropped. Nekas peeks wide. He wants the trade frag, but he gets gushed. Sits on 6. And a Molotov to the feet of the push will hold it back. Rush removed.
KL, meanwhile, has opened the door, and he'll start lurking out into the A site. Knows that there's action on Highway, therefore they're readdressing toward middle, and in harmony with communication, Luminosity is able to back off and be ready for it rather than continuing to challenge Showtime. Correct action will take down the kill on Stu. Automatic and Tarek left to pretty much just wait out the round, if you will. I don't imagine they'll be able to pull this back. Low HP enough on Nekas, but Showtime getting automatic. Tarek has the scout. He finds a headshot on the first. More specifically, if it's not Nekas, he would be in a position to pick up maybe 2 kills and hurt the economy, but PKL gets in position first, reads the fact that Truck's not covered, and now we see what Cloud9's made of with guns.
Obviously, Luminosity going to buy up into the op as well, so that's a pretty big investment. Despite having extra cash left over, the rebuy would be simplified. That op is on the line here now. No cannon on the other side. Cloud9 just going to hold on to those rifles. And Yell looks to exploit that here inside mid. Doesn't catch the player on the cross as Ska just hides behind the boxes. He's wary of that boost over. Understandably so, but it's automatic to open up shop. Finding the frag over towards Squeaky Door. And no response yet. Actually, Neck is tagged down to 6, but Yell removes Skadoodle as he tries to cross over.
Decent pick to find if they're going to sit back and not only level up the situation, but play a slower game. The problem is they've given up so much on A main. They know Yell was boosted. Nekas is low to hold him off. Cello has to trade immediately if they push all the way through the doorway. Rush has gone close. So bait and switch play with lockers held at A main means Cloud9 has so much control, and a smart switch. Give Nekas the AWP, 6 HP. He just needs to find a pick. He can't take duels with the rifle, and that's what they're going to have to do at B because they don't have the information. And again, Tarek's pushed up. It's so aggressive. They're giving up middle. That's fine, but they're compensating for it by covering off both sites aggressively. So even if they want to go down mid and up Highway, they're going to be a retake on A, and if they go in toward B, Tarek's position behind box. Timing is the factor. They're able to walk in and catch off Tarek. This should be a 1-for-1 trade if they come from both sides.
Players down from vent, they're just going to go walking by. Tarek still in the corner, but Showtime takes Nekas, and the spray goes through. Stu with at least a hold on sight as he finds the 2 headshots. Showtime gets the sight, and he's got the Molotov after the plant.
Call it a 1-for-1 trade. That's exactly what Tarek was hoping for. Best case scenario, and it works out. It was actually after he died. His teammate's stray bullet caught off. And Showtime makes up for it, at least getting into the site, but he's got it all to do. Hold off the bomb in a post plant by which he's locked on the site, and Rush knows it. Rush has gone so far through that they peek it perfectly together. Very good communication from Cloud9. Automatic and Rush in sequence. He'd already cleared checkers. Only one place he could have beaten.
Good hold by Tarek. Honestly, a bit of a saving grace there by Showtime. As you said, stray bullet unfortunately finds his teammate, but this play from Stu, that was crucial. Finding the first man through the smoke, getting the bit of a warning there for Yell, whose feet gave him away. And at least Luminosity will be able to reinvest, not only with AKs, but an op to boot. Cloud9, meanwhile, equips Skadoodle with his. But, glass cannon.
Shouldn't be too much of an issue for Ska if he plays an angle game, which he's already trying to do toward drop position to control. Nade's a little more of a factor if they were to try and push him back, but it's not common to nade that position, so. Has Tarek to work off of as well inside of the vents. Very slow early openings from Luminosity. It used to be a Bazillion trait to be slow when SK was actually under the Luminosity banner back before they swapped over to SK. Tarek's positioning, good response, takes down Nekus. Obviously, they've gotten faster as they've gotten better and more confident with their skill, but Luminosity seems to be relying on picks early and defaults late as Tarek, he's made up for one kill, gets spotted by Showtime. Wanted to try and surprise him behind the smoke, but he reads the fact that he was aggressive in the vents. He considers the angle. Showtime showing off experience. Remember, he was a member of Immortals. Remember, he stood in for SK, and he seems to know basic CS now because he's got the entrance, but Stewart knows more than that as he'll drop the bomb, and he and Rush will shut down the B site.
Locked down yet again. Showtime still being able to create that space towards B main, allowing for his teammates to try and flood through checkers, but that's been the issue. 2 rounds now back-to-back. Stu, and this time Rush by his side, have been able to hold it. A bit of an off angle, you can see how Showtime peeked wider, maybe trying to read into his previous position, but regardless, it's Cloud9 closing that gap already. As many rounds already here as they had versus Immortals on their CT side last night. And this time they've got the advantage of the guns. Luminosity back down to pistols. Single smoke to play with at this point. And a chunky frag finds Pickle.
Yeah, no armor. Big damage. Yell tries to figure out what he can inside of the A site. All he's going to find is a double peek his way. A few bullets off, but couldn't find the headshots at range. All 5 looking to stay alive. Importantly for Cloud9. This goes to the Deagle. Needs a money shot, can't get it. No money lost therefore, and Cloud9 tied the game up and are in a position with 5 rifles that they could actually still play aggressively. There's no need to reinvest to bring out the op at this point in time for Skadoodle, obviously. So if they stick to the rifles, I wouldn't mind seeing Tarek continue to try and get information at B, but if they really wanted to, Rush has gone aggressive late. Did on the pistol round, they could flash in toward A main and get a rifle hold at lockers to therefore cover off mid with 2 rifle positions, including highway. Skadoodle without the op has to be careful at sandbags, though. Good Molotov to hold the drop early. That'll allow Tarek to push. So rather than go aggressive on B this time, the Molotov is designed so that they can get a forward stance. Inside of mid, and at A main, next best thing, not flashing in, boosting up. So they're playing aggressive strictly due to having 5 rifles, and it's perfect from Cloud9.
Paying homage to Shroud by playing his spot. Rush going to try to anchor out this site. Of course, he does still have automatic back behind the red box. And that could be good enough to pull the attention away from this. Banking on the fact that Luminosity might not check it. Meanwhile, mid firmly in the hands of Cloud9. Skadoodle going to do the same as Rush, just anchor a corner and hope that Luminosity push forward.
This is one of the great things about Cash. For in-game leaders like MSL who don't like it, he better start to learn because he's got so many aggressive players on his team. There's so much you can do for the CTs to take map control, to get aggressive. Good trade Nekus. They staggered it enough and the smoke was down toward quad, but it's automatic. Who slides up late with a rotation from highway. Bomb in the site is down. Pickle does decent damage onto Tarek, but he backs away accordingly. It's Showtime again. Late on the bait, but still makes it work toward highway for 2. Automatic responds, and it's 4 for Cloud9.
There we go, keeping 2 players up. Again, giving up that mid control. Let Showtime find some space, but seeing as his entire team was swept underneath the flames of that A site, it was an easy hold for Cloud9. Luminosity back into the pistols. And so far, this defense hasn't really been tested. I mean, you just mentioned it, the amounts of map control that can be taken by a CT side. And at this point, we haven't even seen Cloud9 go hyper-aggressive. We've seen no push through Squeaky Door. We've seen no B main flank. We've just seen forward positioning within the middle portion of the map, up on top of the boxes. Putting players in positions to make those plays. and yet not risking it all. However, 5 Deagles. We saw Kingwin work it last map. Cloud9 are much better equipped to hang on to this. Over towards the B site, Showtime drop that Stu with the first and the second, finding bomb in the process as Tarek takes his place and peppers down the third.
Shots back. Should be straightforward. Bomb still in the possession of Luminosity. They'll grab that back quite easily. Tarek finds the shot on Cello, who's been quiet to start this off, by the way. Cello, 0-8 at this point in time. I just finished singing his praises after seeing him in the minor. I'm thinking that he looked like an awesome player at the time. Obviously swapping over to Luminosity. Hasn't gone quite as well, quite clearly. Showtime continues to lead with 8 kills of his own, but Rush and Stu well ahead for Cloud9 as they've had decent combos on the B site time and time again. Again, this time they shut them down. Yell's going to try to go back this time with a Deagle and pick away at the money, which at this point is over 5 digits for Stewart, and the rest not far behind. It's swelling for Cloud9 as they get 5 in a row. It's a max loss bonus, therefore, for Luminosity. So even without a plant, obviously saving on pistols in the last round, they'll be in a position where if they wanted to, they could bring out the AWP. And bought AKs is across the board. Yeah, okay, Yell's going to do it.
There we have it. Needs to find the effective counter to Skadoodle. Again, we've had 3 rounds for Luminosity, but all of which being the pistol and conversions. 5 straight rifles to the North American side. It's Cloud9 go for the triple man mid, but then immediately peel one back towards the top of Highway. Rush firing off versus Squeaky Door. And again, it's just automatic to anchor this bomb site. You can see how Luminosity and Cello in particular is wary of an aggression from mid.
Well, the reason that Tarek's pushed up as well, and it's quite clever, they've got Rush to support in mid to pull aggression away from him and also help Stewart if he gets Molotov behind the bags. But Skadoodle anchors B so low. The fact that Tarek is so close to the vents, if Skadoodle had not hit that shot on Showtime and gone down, he could rotate immediately. And if he got missed, maybe not countered immediately, but pushed back, he's still in the same position. So it's a really good support play and gets you rifles in mid, which is dynamic to rotate on A. They won't even need to. Rush and Tarek shut them down immediately on entry. And Yell is showing a little bit of a pixel to fire at despite being blind. He's got his shoulders high. It's also a company. They've got so much information. Cloud9 is controlling the pace of the game on the CT side at this point.
Really nicely done with the flashbangs as well. While Tarek was feeling the pressure from the player who had dropped over boost, and then the second man who tried to trade by rushing through the smoke, Yell was completely countered by flashbangs. He was never able to catch an angle towards either the player on white box, who was just toying with him, shoulder peeking and offering up his gun, but not even his body. And meanwhile, again, he couldn't fully extend because he knew that threat was there. So the op effectively countered just by safe positioning and a beautiful 2K by Tarek, locking down Luminosity, not affording them any room to work with. And that's the case towards the B side as well. Skadoodle fighting Showtime in the opening fight of the map, or rather round, really limited their options. So they're going to have to come up with new options as Luminosity takes the tactical pause, talks things over.
I think the best news of the day is that Fernando Alonso's hell might be over because Honda, you get the hell out of McLaren. They're bringing back Renault. Sorry, I had to go off topic in Formula 1 at least once this event, but thankfully, finally, Honda and McLaren are parting ways.
It's all right. You're
That apparently just happened,
Autosports.
so there we go.
Motorsports.
Bring it on, Vettel and Hamilton. Let's see what you got next year when the boy's back.
What other sports do you follow barring Counter-Strike and
Who
racing?
cares? Just racing. Hockey a little bit.
Spoken like a true Canadian. Over towards Squeaky Door is PKL, but the flashbang, which could have allowed him to peek, is not capitalized on. Is now Cloud9, they're going to change things up. Again, we've seen aggression, we've seen positioning, but we hadn't seen this push.
This is the one push we haven't seen. We've seen all the others. PKL's locked in.
my
Oh no! It glitched. It didn't go right away, which meant he got so many ticks in. It's a quite straightforward nade from Rush. That's unfortunate. Not really much you could have done to get away, to be fair, with 2 players facing down the exit point by which you had to have crossed. But Luminosity is, I would say, not only losing these rounds convincingly, but starting to lose confidence in the fashion by which they are. They'll get inside the A site because it's conceded at A main, but more importantly, bomb is down, and even if they had it, they were surrounded with the push that came out through Squeaky Door, so Cello will go hunting. But for what? He does have a kill, so not the first kill. If he gets one, but he won't. Cloud9 looking controlled. Valen's is having a good time. He's just chilling out.
Yeah, you can see the confidence in Cloud9 already starting to spill into their playstyle. I mean, they start off this half by losing those first 3 rounds, and then once they get the gun rounds rolling, they need to close that gap. They do so by taking initiatives, but initiatives inside of the bomb site, inside of the portions of the map that are afforded to them, regardless of a push. Now, look at these plays. They're pushing into Squeaky Door, they're leaving Skadoodle solo on B, they're playing much more confidently, and yet Luminosity, as you said, maybe losing their faith. They're not being able to curb the aggressions of Cloud9, and they shouldn't be allowed to do so in this round, the 11th, as Luminosity are just back down to the pistols. Double Deeg, 3 CZs, again, Rush, finding 2 quick headshots, and make that 3. A successful anti-eco already, as Luminosity are left grasping for anything they can find.
Bad to worse. This would, out of the 7, about to be 8 rounds that Cloud9 have won, be the, I'm just doing the math, 3rd where 5 would stay alive if they do, and 5th where 4 or more would stay alive. So I don't need to tell you that Cloud9 has enough economy for the rest of the half at this point in time. Luminosity's done this the hard way, having won just the pistol, no gun rounds to note, and not even really getting openings or toward a site to do so. Trying for the mid-control, but trying for the peaks. It might be time to go for a set. The hard part is it's very hard to set up a piece, a wall of smokes per se, like you would have on Cobblestone or on Train. There's not as much opening to be as quick when you do so. You do still need to have a little bit of map control and an opening. You can get in toward A main and run 1 through Squeaky with, there is a few smokes you can throw from spawn that'll cover off, first off red crate toward Highway, and 1 toward Quad and rush in, but you still have to take battles. And in this fashion, Cloud9 is heavily outscaling Luminosity.
Stewie now going to anchor that B site on his lonesome. They're going to play the same angle as Ska. Again, with that op, but it's a fast play in from mid. Luminosity already have control of the vent. They've convinced the player from White Box to fall back, but Stewie, inside the site, he's got something to say as he finds Nekis already. Same angle, but this time it's his death, not success, on the site itself. Cello wants to cross.
Automatic high ground. Hold from heaven. Check in toward checkers. This time, with the smokes down, they at least push back Cloud9, so they get toward a site with decent numbers to work with, and Yell's already evaluating the fact that Tarek's coming through useless, looking for the flank, and rightfully so. It's about timing for Cloud9. They want the smoke gone toward the tree, but haven't got much to work with. They know as well, though, keep in mind, if 8-3, this is going to be a first gun round for Luminosity if they're able to collect. Every kill they get is going to kill the economy, and it's 4 to stay alive. That's big. That's the chance back into the half for Luminosity that they needed. As Ska tries desperately to get the shot at the garage. And they do not need to pursue this, Cello. They know he's got money. He's going to buy another op. What's the point? You're just giving away your guns at this point in time. You'll get away, otherwise Showtime's far enough, just to note. But either way, 8-4, Luminosity find a gun round, that time with more grace and the smokes to match.
Nothing would kill them more, though, than a reset here and now. Showtime making good use of that cover from the Flames, finding the 2 headshots as the players tried to trickle from the heavens. Of course, nobody could push from CT spawn at that same time, seeing as it was still smoked off, and they were worried that somebody would be watching it from that sort of an angle, and unable to find his head was Cloud9. So, back into the buys. Everything on the table for Luminosity, as finally they break the curse. 8 rounds in a row. And this time, Cloud9 not going to be playing just that 1 player towards the B site, but it's over on A that all of a sudden LG go pushing in. Skadoodle to the back of Quad, able to find a second frag as Rush holds the cross as well. An excellent 4v2.
Ska still has vision. Bomb down in front of him, 1:13, a fast commitment from Luminosity as Yell looks toward Chuck, but even if he hit the shot, it was almost going to be countered. Showtime continues to find kills on his own, but the impact is not felt with them, at least not as much as when he had the entries earlier on, as Cloud9 does hit that reset button they were looking for to try and limit the economy. Luminosity kept 4 alive. They could force. It would be desperate, but it would lead them to a 3rd round bonus, and at this point, you're going into the end of the half, you might as well do so, and they will. 2 AKs. Khalil, UMP, and then poor old Pickles and a dilly of 1 with just the CZ. Don't know about a cello, but I think a violin might be suitable for this half.
Yeah. Absolutely so. Luminosity desperate at this point to find some more rounds. And it's not too far gone. 9-6 is still something to work with, but with the amount of rifle rounds they've won, you can't feel hopeful, especially as Automatic's caught off guard and still gets the opening kill. But it's back towards the A site that the bomb's been able to cross. It forced its way through Squeaky Door, and Automatic, well, he forces his way in. Charges straight through that smoke and actually finds some safety to the bottom side of Shroud. Teammates inbound, and as are the T's.
Shot Tarek to find PKL. Rush. Knows he's behind the quad. Flashed off, dodges them all. Dodges them all. There's 3 flashes thrown somehow. He dodges all the flashes, but not the bullets thrown his direction, spewed from a gun. Leaving just Tarek in a 1 versus 3, in which there was not much of an argument. 9-6, excuse me. 9-5. It already changed in the top. It threw me off. I was going to say 9-6 is a good recovery from Luminosity, getting just the 3 rounds off pistol, but now they have 2 guns to work with back and forth. But as mentioned, Cloud9 had swelled the economy so greatly that they'll be able to buy no matter what. Skadoodle goes back onto an op. And Luminosity's answer to the aggression from Cloud9, rather than having set pieces or contesting for duels, is speed. They want to catch them up before they can get so aggressive that they're able to take over position.
KL tries to curb again the push from Squeaky Door, and Automatic just tries to force the issue, forces his way through the flames, and loses his life for it. Cloud9 now hoping to use that double op setup to maybe even these numbers, and Yell's still sitting to the top side of mid. He sees the utility being thrown out from Z. And that's all there is towards middle, just that one player throwing nades who's now faded away towards A, and nobody else there to stop him. So they get aggressive. This is nice. Take back the map control and put yourself in a position to lose Squeaky Door, to lose Highway. Cloud9 are currently looking to rebound back.
You can see the change from Cloud9. Aggressive and confident. They lose the first pick. They lose a few rounds first off, then they lose the first pick. They have to turtle up. Give up A site. They'll play for the retake. Good shot. Skadoodle as they look for information. Nekez gets caught off, but it's A site open. Tarek's going to try and wrap this behind them. No information toward B from Stu yet, but they're going to have confirmation from Rush that the A site is the only formidable object by which Luminosity wishes to accomplish their goal in putting the bomb down. They've done so. Rush backs off, smoke in play. PKL catches Tarek. That's a huge kill. Massive kill to go reverse side of Squeaky, excuse me, because there's no second approach to the retake. It's on to Rush, and he's smoked off, but needs to go.
Yeah, he does have the kit. Both players do, but again, it's quick, and it is finished by Luminosity. 9-6 the half. An excellent rebound when you think about it. I mean, again, they open up with the pistol, they convert for 2. That's the 3-0 start, and then they only manage their 3 other rounds in the last 4 of the half. So, yes, Cloud9 still have them a lead. Yes, Cloud9 overwhelmed for the majority of those rounds, but Luminosity can completely reset things here and now.
Yeah, pistol, obviously momentum with money. Gets him to a 9-9 situation. Cloud9 terrorist side as well. Doodle's going to be someone who has to be aggressive and assertive with the AWP. As you say, Luminosity is no stranger to this map. They beat Immortals on it very recently, and their CT side. I don't know if we'll see as much aggression or coordinated aggression from them, but either way, I expect to see some pushes. It's not uncommon. We know Fur likes to do it. We know Phelps likes to do it. We've seen many players, Henny, Lucas, both of them very likely to push on Cash quite frequently. In fact, the fact that these guys beat Immortals, Immortals often contest SK on Cash. It's been one of their maps they've always struggled on. Go as far back as Columbus when they had issues even still. I like how Stunna, by the way, said the boys in light blue.
Yeah, and with both being light blue.
Yep.
That's okay.
That's how you make a prediction. You just can't lose that way.
Smart guy, Stunna is. Cloud9 to the T side and the A site. Luminosity, they're looking to just anchor the bomb site with Yell pushed into the fence and PKL towards quad. Of course, the other man's playing counter flash, so 2 quick headshots from LG make it 3-4 as PKL stops them right on the cusp of the door. It's Yell to seal it out. Perfect pistol nearly by Luminosity.
Game on. Cloud9 had the massive momentum going for them, but second pistol they've lost. No bomb plant. They'll save up, except for Stu, who's actually gone for armor and a flash. But it doesn't mean we'll get the earlier buy. So, yeah, okay, I was going to say, I'd expect more than that. Why would Stu be the only one to do that when they're not going to be able to buy round 3? Tech9 for Rush, by the way. Seeing that less and less, but he still fancies his chances with it as he has the bomb. Movement could be a factor, and it's A they want to go. It's Yell and Nekas that want to push. Trade back, though, as they find Nekas in the opening kill. Stewart is still challenging. Yell's got no one to flash him in, but he still has the M4, and he's still close enough to catch them off. Swing to the door. Rush. Tech9 finds one back.
Molotov burns him off, though, so he can no longer push out. And that buys time for Pickle to get to the back of the site, reload the mag. And while this forfeits the UMP to the hands of Skadoodle, he's not the one with Kevlar. It's the bomb carrier with the Tech9. And a teammate who's also now tagged. Of course, Molotov burns the corner out. Smoke still allows the cross, and Rush will hit the headshot. So this is still doable, despite the health advantage. Showtime still here, though.
Gets to quad as well, which is a perfect position for him to be in because he wasn't detected by Skadoodle. And he covers off the whole site no matter what. Even without Cello being there, at least in the first instance, he's able to play angles and play time. And now Rush with 22 HP and the Tech9 bought up still has the bomb in his hands, needs to try and at least get a plant. Has information to where Showtime is, or does he? Thinks he's still behind quad. He works his way to MBK. And it's one between them and another save on the cards for Cloud9.
Of course, considering that was their round 2 buy, they still did damage. Luminosity felt it. Big opportunity with that Smoke Molotov combo as well in the 2v2, but Skadoodle saw immediately that aim punch play a factor. As should be the case here in the 18th round. SMG's set to rip flesh from bone. As Cloud9 have only that single flash to work with. Can't help but feel like Rush might use that to try and trigger a push. Cloud9 will just attempt to flood into any portion of the map, find some footing, maybe a gun. Slight opening's all they hope for. From there, they'd hope for the round, but odds so certainly stacked against them. I do like that they're leaving Stu alone over towards A main, obviously looking to get that late plant in, and by pushing over towards the B site, they could pull the rotation off. But if Showtime doesn't let him in, there's no reason to leave. 3 kills for Luminosity.
They got it. Stewart's got the plant. That's all they want. Automatic can go down. They've realized their mistake now as they swing back over. Give Stewart a chance to find Pickle as well, but it was exactly what they intended for. The round was not what they were playing for at all at this point. Hadn't had a bomb plant in the first 3 rounds, needed so to get the economy, especially with the force buy in round 2. I need one of those birthday blowers so I can do that with it every time.
Do you really want that in your life?
Yes.
All right.
Mark Winter will get one, I'm sure. We go 9-9. Could all change first gun round. AWP bot for Skadoodle. No head armor, which is actually a factor that normally I wouldn't point out if he was on the CT side, but on the terrorist side it is. Because he's up against M4s and UMP, so the headshot damage actually is something you have to consider. It's not like the AK that's going to kill no matter what, whether you've got a helmet or not.
Of course, it was 11 terrorist rounds versus Immortals last night for Cloud9. The superior Brazilians compared to Luminosity. Great 5v3 for Cloud9 to kick this off. Nice boost by Skadoodle on top of the white van. Has a smidgen of an angle towards white box, and does he ever make that work? Had the player cross closer to the boxes, then he would have been safe, but that's not the case. He's lost his life. Luminosity lost the advantage that they've just worked to gain. Of course, from here, Cloud9 can start to group themselves and just execute into the standard A site split. They've got all the utility in the world. They can burn the back of the boxes, smoke off the cross, and leave Luminosity overwhelmed.
PKL considering still that mid has been lost. Stu's position. It's great, but it's almost too early. And that Cello, yeah, exactly. They're going to rotate around. They're going to go off Stewart's call, and Cello's actually undetected behind them at Useless. He could be a menacing problem for them. As they go toward Vents, they'll bypass him originally, with bomb included. But Skadoodle, dead. Never had it in him, the young Skadoodle. It's actually getting little bit older in the scene these days. But either way, gives up the AWP as automatic out from white box. Reverses said flank on rotation to get Pickle down, and Stewart, although he was forward to make the call early, it's found by Showtime. HP is low enough even with the armor that he'll go down. Close shot from Cello, good try. Cloud9 find the rounds.
Yeah, really good try by Cello there. Obviously getting behind the flank of Stu, who had already crept his way through B main. I'm sure Cello's just hoping that the bomb is the player that actually crosses in front of him, because had that been the case, it would have been 18 seconds to the clock, and retrieval would have been needed, but they boosted over instead, takes the shorter route through vent, and that all pans out here to the favor of Cloud9, as they are the first to hit double digits. Now, they've lost both pistols. Luminosity have converted for the whole 6 points, but it's the gun rounds that we've seen the Brazilians struggle with, and already Yell tagged to 11 health. Despite the double op setup, Skadoodle gets the most impact already.
Good shot, Ska. Good exchange, opens mid. Cello getting in toward checkers late, with Showtime already there. That is fair enough, about as close as you can get. Could go for a boost in vents, which I think they're going to have to do to get mid back, because there's no one that else can rotate. As Yell gets there late, he's got low HP, he's already smoked off, so Cello is up. Molotov goes behind him, he has to commit to the fight. Automatic reads it. No sooner did he go than did the flames land at his feet. And it's Rush to cover the door, much like Pickle did last half. I'm sure somewhere a Brazilian is hating me for calling him Pickle. They tend to be rather feisty on the social media.
Passionate people.
That's a good way to put it.
Ooh, another headshot though. Stu catches Showtime. The B sites crumbled. You could see how Cloud9 were slowly working their way through vents, inching their way through B main. And the moment they all arrived, they just collapsed down upon it. And that leaves PKL and Yell towards the A site instead, where Rush does loom. Cloud9 going early on towards the A site have actually been able to keep the player to the back of the bomb site itself. And that's now 2 rounds back-to-back that they've felt out B midway through and then ultimately fall down on it. Of course, mid control being locked down by Skadoodle now multiple rounds in a row. Really nice op usage by Cloud9, boosting him either to the top of the truck in order to play counter op, or then even on top of the boost itself to play a little more aggressive. He's been finding picks regardless of his position, as Cloud9 have been picking up rounds left, right, and center.
Nice Yell saves the AWP as Cloud9 get 1 round cushion in their lead. Bit of insurance. Skull gets the op thrown over toward him from Tarek. Stu looks composed as always. So they'll play it with the single op. They won't force anything around it. Justifiably. They'll sit around the 2K mark and be ready for the next round. And the AWP of Yell plays passive rather than aggressive to try and take the round control early. Smokes down behind the bags and at Z Connector. They're going to be already up toward Highway. No one watching middle, and this becomes a real problem. You've got pistols inside of the site. There's 3 of them. But range has been closed, the gap has been covered, and Tarek's already rotating around toward the AWP. Good shot, Yell. That could be a problem because they haven't smoked him off. If he went for more, and Rush, who gets a nice 180 shot, and Nekus went down. He could have had problems, but well controlled, well traded.
And very thorough in the clearing of the site as well. Rush being so tagged up is dropped by Cello, who has 2 more targets tagged, but he needs to hit the man on 100 HP. That's Ska. And while he dwindles down the one towards quad, he still sits on the full bar himself, but Automatic sits on site, and he locks it down. So the 3-point lead at the end of the half has been reasserted as Cloud9 arrive on 12. And of course, Luminosity arrived to another gun round. This was, of course, Rush. Ooh, nice flick. Heads up play, able to trade out on Tarek. As you said, had the op found the second frag, that could have been a real issue. But it's controlled, as was mid that round. Cloud9, again, using that first and foremost, putting a player there either by the boost or a little more onwards. But it's a leg shot from Stewie that allows Yell to grab the kill and actually retreat.
KL. MBK. At least that's the spot named after him toward the fence. Automatic's timing. Just Nekus opens up mid once more, knows that they don't have any further control or any utility to explode behind him, so he's got to put a flames down to hold off the position. Cello actually caught the angle from the vents. His automatic thought he'd done enough to hold off. He still manages to get the kill, but it slows down his approach, and therefore he couldn't cover off his teammates on entry. Gets out late. That'll distract and leave Showtime in a position where he better stage a good one, because it's a 1 versus 3, and Cloud9's about to find their 13th round. It will be a 4th round bonus to the CTs. So it's just only $2,900 though on a CT side. That's not amazing. Starts in. Damage done. Spots 2. Knows the 3rd's behind quad. He hasn't done enough damage, and he doesn't have a nade to add to it, so he's got to back off. He's got to give it up, and he's a little bit late in doing so.
Thirteenth round now here for Cloud9. Really starting to pull ahead, especially as Luminosity have been left worse for wear. Money the issue. Nobody's sitting higher than 3.3K. So a great time for a pause.
Surprising it's taken this long, but
yeah,
take it now, might as well.
What I'm worried about for Luminosity at this point is that it seems like Cloud9 have really just been picking up the pace in these last few rounds. Obviously versus the Pistols was one thing, but that was guns they just dealt with.
Deagle buy, or as we bring back Semler's old terminology, the quasi buy to level them around 2K. A little bit higher than that, in fact, so they'll have better utility in the next round, but it gives them a hope, but not really a concern for the next round. 4 players already stacked from Cloud9 outside of B. Showtime is the factor, and Cello is Showtime's extra limb, his extension, his bait. He's been spotted early, which means he backs off early and a little bit too soon. In fact, because Showtime, they now know he's there. There's no bait, but he still finds a kill. Sees that spray down onto Stewart, and bomb recovered. Tarek. Immediate trade. Molotovs are perfectly placed from Cloud9 once they clear corner. A lot of teams, by the way, don't do that. They go to throw the Molotovs in Skylight, never clear box, and get counter-peeked immediately. So smart and systematic from Cloud9 to take control.
And very thorough in an anti-eco. Of course, amongst that fight on B, it was automatic to catch the rotator off of Truck. So he's probably calling for that bomb to rotate. But again, Cloud9 being very aware of the fact that they've lost that mid control. We remember when Cello was able to catch the back of Skadoodle, but not the bomb. So they dodge mid main again, despite Yell not being inside it. He's on the other side, and he actually hears this boost for sure. Tarek's going to be left to anchor this position, to keep his eyes on flank as the rest of Cloud9 go charging forward towards 14. Yell dropped down, and that's a 4v2 here for Cloud9. That's a 14th round of the board, I'm sure. And Luminosity, as they had calculated, with a healthy buy in the next.
Spot late from Tarek. Good read. Cello has picked up an AK-47, however, so he'll hang out. Speaking of spots named after players, at James Bardoff. That's what we call that one, because every time he goes there, he whiffs on a spray.
Isn't that a general trend from James?
Well, let's not pick on him too much now. I'm not a big fan of bullies.
He's still much better than I am. I can give him that.
I will say with it's interesting just thinking about James right now. He's down at E-League in Atlanta. We're here north of the border in Montreal, and we've got players in Greece playing this weekend as well. It's, I mean, let's not get too cliche and say global offensive, but it's definitely expanded, and there's lots going on in the Counter-Strike scene.
So the response, it's double op setup, Showtime and Yell. Looking to make something from it. Cloud9 wary of the cross there towards the counter boost, just spamming through the smoke. I do like the smoke grenades from Luminosity to try and curb that early rush from Cloud9. Sometimes teams, after a tactical pause, will just go charging in, guns blazing and attempting to catch the defense off guard, but the smoke grenades help in that case.
A little low, somehow collects the shot on rush either way. As he missed the jump cross, made up for it. Showtime, second op. It's out inside of B. It's down to just 3 players left on Cloud9. Skadoodle being the first and foremost with the AWP that needs to compensate. Smokes to cover Truck and Highway, gives Rifles more focus toward the back of the site. The fact that he's done that and not had any vision toward quad, and there's still a smoke down, suggests that he wants to hold A main. They'll go in, and he'll sit and wait for the plant, but he won't have that option anymore because he's the last alive, and it's a clean sweep. Luminosity find their 10th, and all 5 stay alive.
Greatly done from them. That also nets them double digits. So we saw that 8-round spree from Cloud9 in the opening half on their defensive side, and they just strung together 5 rounds here on the offense. And immediately, the moment they lose a single gun round, they call themselves the pause. Which is a great idea. Rush on screen right now, obviously leading the charge with 25 frags to his name. His teammates behind at 16.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I read on Reddit the other day that Rush has looked lost since he joined Cloud9.
Well, he's found his footing here tonight. If that was even ever a question.
I'm really happy, though, that Canadian fans at least just cheer and don't dab. Thank you, Canada. That's why I'm proud to be one of you. Death to the dab.
We have morals in Canada.
Standards apply. Yell rotates off it. First pick, not successful. Doing there immediately, and they Molotov'd it off, so that gives timing to Cloud9 to get up late on mid. I want to emphasize some strength toward B, however, based on information that that Cello and Showtime have called for. The problem in doing so is they give up ace. This will be a retake attempt from Luminosity in a time in which they can actually whittle down the economy further from Cloud9, but in doing so, they leave themselves vulnerable, and map point could be quickly ascertained from Cloud9. Smart then to put Pickle back inside of the site. I'm not sure what that call was. I was a bit curious as to why they were rotating off that early, because Cello and Showtime aren't exactly pushed for information. They've heard one person, and that would have been Stu. So it would have been a little bit anxious of them.
Again, however, while they were putting more forces over towards the B site, they've left mid open, and Skadoodle gave cover to Automatic so that he was able to creep up towards the white box. That's going to give him a great position to potentially collapse into A, where the rest of Cloud9 look to hit. You can see Nekaz just creeping his way to try and help out PKL. And Yale himself still sits outside the CT spawn. 35 seconds to the clock as the Molotovs start to pop and the smoke grenades as well, but it's Automatic who starts to push his way in.
PKL waits, baits out first flash, traded by Automatic, and Nekaz has to go, but he's found by the same target, same victim. Caught out by Flames, and it's Yell with it. AWP, that's got a second, let's be fair. He's got Skadoodle on top of the forklift. He's given them the advantage on retake as well, but they've got to wait a moment longer for Cello to join in. And it's a double op retake, which is always a challenge. 2 kits in play, but Cloud9 don't need to peek this. Let them walk so close that they can smell the gunpowder in the barrels of the AKs. Tarek goes early, they know he's in the corner. That's a problem because they can post up, hold the angle, and with an op, that's still effective. It's down to Rush. First shot found. Here's the second jumping, takes out Cello as well. One-on-one, Yell's got to get close. And a jump with the AWP. Rush just holds and waits for the shadow. It's map point Cloud9.
So well held there. I thought for sure Rush was just going to try and anchor the back of quad by that time, and that Tarek was just going to try and catch them by surprise when that bomb was so close to exploding. But Tarek takes the first fight. He goes down, and Rush, with a second headshot, removes Cello from the skies. Third man with the op up close. Best of luck. Rush holding his own, proving his worth, and taking Cloud9, as you say, to map point. So 5 rounds is what Luminosity look for. Skadoodle's gonna post up yet again. Once more, Automatic allowed some space on mid. He had a crucial entry towards the A site, but this time he's tagged up, and Skadoodle peeks back to find the head of Nekaz, and the 5v4 at that. But at what cost? 2 players from Cloud9 tagged already, and Yell's got an angle to try and hold mid.
Tagged is fine. It's the man advantage and map control that's more important. Again, they're going to compensate with a boost from Cello. Showtime has to put him up. Second time they've done so after losing the early pick and mid. The more important fact is PKL right now has pushed all the way through A main. So the only reason Yell is still at truck is for a late push Squeaky and making sure that they're not going to go all the way through middle. Cello and Showtime should call any second. Yell works his way back over, and PKL, if they get held out Cloud9 at all in the tunnels, becomes the money man in the round for Luminosity. He's what saves this map and keeps it alive late. Skadoodle finds him immediately, so forget all of that. Forget it already, because Skadoodle has awareness to it, and there wasn't enough distraction. He went too soon. The timing was off.
Cello's going to hear that rotate out, but he pops vent, so now they know as well. we see Luminosity forfeit the B bomb site, and it's a pump fake because Cloud9's headed back towards B. And now no one's there to stop them. Sure enough, Cello's still inside the vent, but does he know there's a man up close? He sprays for one, and Rush will trade it. So yes, B crumbles.
B crumbles, smoke still for Cloud9 in Tarek's hands, and they've got tree covered off as well, so they've got lots of time, but not the bomb plant yet. And they've rushed in. Showtime read it well. Skadoodle had the op, was never ready at the generator, and it drops bomb for a second as Yell. Still in a 1 versus 2, but they've done it with time because finding Skadoodle as Showtime goes through, that's exactly what was needed. Pushed the smoke, and unfortunately the player that was watching it had the op and missed the shot. It was a clean kill. And he's been aggressive all game, Showtime, but this time it pays off.
Yeah, that's not a flashy frag, but it's one that matters absolutely. The Clock being the 6th teammate of Luminosity in that 26th round, but at least both teams buy back. They needed 5. They've cut it down to 4. As mid control here is actually being uncontested. Cloud9 just going to leave Tarek inside of the corner. Waits for some kind of a cross, waits for the smoke to fade. And instead, it's over towards A that Cloud9 start to set themselves. Yell behind quad, PKL by the forklift. Of course, the utility so valuable from Luminosity right now. It's going to be Cloud9 to start to clear these corners. On the cross, the shot connects. That's automatic down to a quarter health. Yell's pinned in.
Yeah, he has to move off that. Too easy to smoke off. Molotov for Tarek as well would have limited his position in peak. Watch Cello. This time the boost works late. Tarek coming up from highway makes one work, but he's got to be ready for the close battle. Not quite. Nekus on the re-peak does get the kill. PKL boosted. Finds the shot, but it's Rush again. Another 1 versus 3.
Unfortunately for him, time is an issue yet once more. 35 seconds.
His name's Rush.
Oh, you have a point. On the clock, he's got to move back to the bomb if he wants it, or force these frags. And they're not going to present themselves, so yes, he knows he needs it. Now, without having a smoke or a flash,
that's the problem. The fact that he waited so long to go back to get the bomb and he has 18 seconds, he doesn't have time to get information, and he's making a lot of noise. Doors closed. Well, I take it back. It's open. It looked like it was closed. But he's trying to bait out. No chance in it. 12th round for Luminosity. Cloud9 out of money. Overtime is definitely a possibility for Luminosity.
We did see in that first half them actually close 4 of the last 5 rounds. Or rather 3 of the 4, excuse me, because that's where they currently sit. They gave up 5 consecutive, the hard reset versus Cloud9. They've now cleaned out the economy that was left over after that. So it's anybody's game. And it should be the 28th round going the way of LG. It is only pistols for Cloud9. Sure enough, some smidgen of utility. Enough to cover the cross, allow maybe these players from Squeaky Door to close the gap towards site. It would only be the 1 man on quad. That's PKL. He will be tested. Drops the bomb first, but Rush drops him. Ooh. And it's the op of Yell to chime in next. Nekis goes high, but then he dies. And Automatic tries to cover as the bomb certainly is planted.
Planted, but not comfortably. So they don't have a lot to hold it off with. Rush has an M4 picked up, but no armor on anyone, and a great amount of utility for a retake. Smoke, a Molotov, which will now push Rush to the left, so the only side they have to peek. Smartly, he's got just enough to walk on to be still concealed when they round the corner. But 3 kits as well. Rush times it, starts it, clutched it last time from quad. He's got to play off his teammates who are wrapping around to distract Cello, and Rush reads it. That's exactly how they had to play it. Bait the M4 into the picture, and it's Cloud9 that pick up the first map, at least 16-12 in our best of 3.
Nicely done there by Cloud9. I mean, obviously, they go in there expecting just that bomb plant. They had barely anything invested because they still had those 2 last rounds, but they make it work before rebuying into it. Luminosity with a great showing again towards the end of each half. It was really those sprees of victory that Cloud9 used to bolster their 16 rounds, and ultimately they get so close that they quite easily finish it off. But
and it was, well, let's keep in mind, it was 2 pistols against Cloud9 as well, so the fact that they didn't win either pistol is a factor, because gun rounds obviously were an issue for Luminosity. They struggled to get early information and early picks.
tough stuff. I mean, again, slow starts because of those pistols, but those first gun rounds always going their way. And that's what they certainly worked with first and foremost. And what scares me the most for Luminosity is the fact that we've watched Cloud9 as of late.
You just call them Cloud9.
Accidentally.
It
was a slip up, I swear. Cloud9 rushed through a lot of teams on train. If anything, this has been their home map since this new lineup has emerged. And
yeah, I mean, at least in this territory. I'm not going to go too far on that one. Yeah, they've had success on it, but SK's been struggling. Maybe it's not their home turf right now either, but there's a lot of teams, FaZe, that have improved. The French teams have always been decent on it. I mean, it's in this tournament, I'll call it home turf. I'll give you that one, but I'm not convinced that they're on that level yet with it, that they're untouchable.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's world class, but versus teams like Luminosity, I think that they certainly hold an edge.
Well, we'll take a short commercial break. 16-12 Cloud9 take map 1. If they take this second map, they go straight through to the playoffs, and we say goodbye to Luminosity. We'll find out if that's the case. We'll be right back.